So we are live. Welcome, everyone. We are waiting for people to join in for our uh, first town hall. This is our first virtual town hall from Immersive Trails, where we will talk about ourselves and we will also hear from you, hear your questions, answer your questions, because Immersive Trails is going through uh, sort of a huge change in our focus as we are expanding as a company. And as you can probably see, we are expanding fast. So I will first ask everyone on this live session to introduce themselves, and then we can go forward and talk about what we have done, what we are doing now, and where we are going, and of course, take your questions as well. So over to Chelsea, who is going to be officially hosting the session.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Most of you, probably a lot of you know me. I'm Chelsea. I'm the CEO of Immersive Trails, and I do a lot of the walks that you've all been on and a lot of the tours. Um, and I also handle the training and um, basically ensure quality control of a lot of what we do. So that's my back end role. Um, Next is Tadagato.
So hello everyone once again. I am Tathagoto. I'm the co-founder and CXO, which means Chief Experience Officer. So I work with the customers and ensure a good customer experience and also deal with any customer complaints, feedback, and upgrade our training program that way. So I am the ears of the company. And if you have communicated with us on Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp, it's probably me answering your questions or answering your concerns over there. So that's me. Over to Shomudi.
Hi everyone. Probably many of you might have not seen me, and I am probably the guy behind the scenes. But I am the city of the company. So even if you had not seen me or probably not known about my face, but you have definitely used my product because every single time when you open Immersive Tours website, mobile app, to a booking or any of those emails or anything, so it's usually like the work that I do that is reflective there. But once again, yeah, so I am the tech guy. So if any sort of like tech feedback, any questions or anything, please do feel free to like let me know. So yeah, so we're obviously open to feedback and all the stuff. So yeah, all right, I'll pass it over back to Chelsea D and like she'll take it over.
Okay, so we wanted to kind of go over where Immersive Trails has come from and where we're going. And that I think will help put into context the whole changes that you're all seeing with our tour offerings and other things. So we started out in 2017 as a walking tour company, as Heritage Walk Calcutta. Many of you probably will have known us from our Heritage Walk Calcutta days. Um, we pivoted away from walking tours during the pandemic out of necessity, and we saw that there was a good uptake in the virtual experiences and things that we did. Um, we after that decided to expand more beyond where we had been. It was just a small walking tour company in Calcutta. And we rebranded as Immersive Trails because we wanted to be beyond Calcutta. So, Roberto?
Yeah, so what we wanted to do is that Immersive Trails as a company or Heritage Walk Calcutta as a company wanted to focus on research and research based, create curate research based experiences. And we realized that there are several small companies or individuals throughout the world who does the same thing, who do the same things, but they are not in focus because either they're doing it alone or they are doing it in a very small area without much resources. So one of the reasons to rebrand from Heritage Walk Calcutta to Immersive Trails to a more global sort of branding is that to create a platform, provide a platform for these kind of people who are doing community based, sustainable, research based tours throughout the world, and bring them together on a platform and offer their experiences together. And I don't think, I mean, even though there are platforms like Make My Trip where you can get a collection of experiences, Viator, Airbnb experiences, which where you can get a collection of experiences. I think what our vision was that to bring in really good players who are doing similar work like us, research based, community focused tours throughout the world, handpick them, and bring them on a platform, create a global platform for them, and collaborate with them and go ahead as alternative of the existing platforms. We know that this is a big challenge, and this is a big challenge that because all of the other platforms that I just named uh, are big players, they have been in the market for a very long time. So it's an uphill struggle for us, but that is where we are trying to go. And the backbone for all of this is provided by Shomodip, who is our CTO. So Shomodip will talk a little bit about the process in which we are thinking in terms of technology.
So yeah, so as like the Tathagata mentioned, so yeah, so what so you have always seen us what should I say? There's a platform where you used to go in and like book any sort of like day experiences. By day experiences, I usually mean the ones that Immersive Trails is so famous for doing, right? Like having the walks and all. But as Tathagata mentioned, so we are in the process of right now like expanding it onto a global like space as well. And as he correctly mentioned, yes, definitely there will be some places where there is a slight similarity with what like Make My Trip does, Clear Trip does, and in no way we are like telling that we are some way unique or what we are building is entirely different. But yeah, there are many places where we do want to keep that quality, the quality for which you have always been like coming back to Immersive Trails over and over again in the years. That quality control is definitely going to be part of it, and that quality control of selecting and like what should I say, finding out the correct players is something that they have always been taking care of by Chelsea and Totagato. What I am trying to do is that basically do that technology bridge between the existing small players who might not be having that much available of like technological like what should I say like resources. That is something that we are basically the tech end, we are trying to provide it to them. And the first thing that we are trying to do in that picture is basically build that CRM. Now, whoever like you have been even working in like the software industry, or even if you have not worked in the software industry, even if you go visit a restaurant or anything of that matter, you will see that there are, so right now it has like we no longer take anything, any order or anything written on a piece of paper or anything like that. So everything that whenever you go to a order a restaurant or whenever you go to any place, you will see that those stuff, everything is recorded onto some computer system. So that stuff which basically runs as what should I say, the central nervous system of a business. That is basically what a CRM is. Now, as of now, till date, we did not find as such any like CRM which is custom made for any travel company. Okay, so mostly the CRMs that are built are usually for large scale businesses, mostly for corporations like IT corporations, healthcare companies, insurance companies, and all that. And then there are many big players around the world. I'm not taking any names, but there are many big players around the world who do provide these CRMs at quite a value premium cost. But there isn't per se any CRM that caters directly to the travel industry, especially for players like Immersive Trails and many other like walking to companies which you probably have even been part of, probably seen in Facebook ads and all. So what we are trying to do is that build that same sort of CRM experience that allows that even today even runs the Immersive Trails business as well. But later on, what we are thinking is that we are trying to build that as a platform which any other company can also use. So for that they don't definitely have to pay that much amount of money that they have to pay in licenses to these big software companies. We're going to be taking probably a very small fraction of the cost. but it will be something that will be revolutionary in the fact that it is built by a technology, by a travel company technology provider who knows the ins and out of this business. They know how, where the problems are in the current CRM sort of world, and what will basically make ease of, what will provide ease for you to run your business. So that is something that we are right now in the process of building. Also, we do take pride in the fact that in Immersive Trails we have always been using our like indigenous products. So and I can tell that for a matter of fact, because I have been working for a very long time in the software industry. I have worked with several American like product companies and all. So I know for a fact that many of these like small scale providers usually buy in software some from other third party providers, and they pay those on a monthly or a premium scale and use those CRM. But I think I will take like pride in the fact that in Immersive Trails, everything that we use from our CRM to our ERP, every system which runs the like our employee relationship, your customer bookings, management of all of those have always been built in house. And that is not just a way of like saving costs or anything, but that is also a way that we can show that we are very less dependent on other third party providers. And I think very recently you have seen how a singular Microsoft cloud like what should I say like a crash caused the entire Indian airports and several like big like organizations to falter. So that was also one more like point that we had like thought through when we started off, that we would like to keep the dependency on third party players to the minimum as much, which we cannot do, then that is the part that we have to take in, for instance like hosting and all of those stuff. But other than that, we do take pride in the fact that everything that we see like we use are all built in house. That is one experience that we are right now thinking of like providing it to other players as well, who may not have the technological expertise or the resources to like what should I say to build them in house. But they may also be having some trouble paying in terms of the pocket the high amount of like money these big players provide. So trying to build that sort of CRM experience as well, which we can roll out. So that is one part of it. And yeah, our like obviously a constant focus on making stuff immersive are still on the process. They are being worked upon as well. But yeah, probably those I think maybe Tathagat and Chelsea will bring them up across the course of discussion.
Yeah, I think the key proposition that we have, the thing that we are building in with the customer resource management software, in the within in the future, in probably the next year's time, or year and a half's time, is that it will be built indigenously, and it will be an Indian product, and it will be for travel businesses, built by people who work in travel businesses, and it will be affordable. So made in India, affordable, built by people in travel businesses, so that they know the ins and outs of difficulties that travel businesses face. So if you have any question about this, then or feedback, that problems that you face, do let us know in the comments, or get in touch with us separately, and we will be happy to talk to you, learn from your experiences and all of that. But now I would like to hand over to Chelsea and talk about a little bit about why, like our future plans in terms of uh, walking tours and upcoming tours in the city, and also in building partnerships with other community-based organizations in other parts of India.
Yeah, so basically, I've been training several people for the past few months, and both I and them are working on new tours that are coming up in the city in Calcutta in the near future. Um, I actually have one this weekend on Sunday, which is Victorian Beaubazaar Walk. I've been working on this for quite a while since the pandemic, and I finally am launching it this weekend. So if anyone is interested in science or in history of medicine and the history of the national movement in the very early days in the 1800s, then please do join for my Victorian Beaubazaar walk. The other tours that are coming up that are new include one in Ravindo Sharawar Lake area, which will cover, some of the history of the different institutions there and the institutions surrounding the lake and the history of the lake itself. Um, there will be another one on the history of the Anwar Shah Road area, including references to Tipu Sultan's family. And finally, there will be another one, which will be a day tour, which will cover the nationalist movement, specifically the armed revolutionary movement. So these are all things that you can look forward to in the near future, and they should be coming out in the next 2 months.
In terms of tours in Bengal, we are going to launch a few of them. Chelsea has been doing research for the last 2.5 years about Bishnupur, and she is going to launch her Bishnupur tour later this year. And it will be a different take on Bishnupur, where yes, temples will be included, but also there will be craft, there will be other histories of Bishnupur that often get overlooked because of the temples. So that is going to come up. I am personally doing a tour on the terracotta temples of Birbhum and the northern part of Bardhaman district. So that is already been scheduled, and with Dipanjan Ghosh, big shout out to him. He is doing like been a sustained research for last 6 or 7 years in Murshidabad. So a tour is finally coming together, which will be an in-depth take on the history of Murshidabad, both Nawabi and post-Nawabi colonial history of Murshidabad area. Along with Rongonda, and a huge shout out to him as well for being our very close collaborator. So along with Rongonda, we are going to launch some tours in uh, like day tours in different parts of South Bengal, and we are going to launch a tour in the Dinajpur district as well, in collaboration with him. Along with that, in terms of our global plans, we have tours like partnerships with small community-based organizations in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan. Don't get scared by Turkmenistan. It's okay. We have figured the links out. And Kyrgyzstan, Egypt, and some other places. And we are starting tours there very soon. And these tours would be both group tours and also tours which can be booked privately for yourself and your families. The reason that we are looking at very selective, small companies in these destinations is that we have realized from our existence in over the last 8 years, and also our collaboration with others, that small companies generally have uh, the community connections that we aspire to have in the tours. So more than 80% of the revenue that we make ultimately filters back to these local communities, which is an essential part of our operations, and which is an essential like cornerstone of our ethics and how we operate. So that's why we look at small companies. That's why we take a long time to select partners in various places, and that's why we um, launch these tours after we are absolutely sure about the partnerships and the small companies that we work with, and the fact that the money and the services will filter back to the improvement of the local communities.
Something else we need to talk about here is the situation in Bangladesh. So, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware, Bangladesh has been going through some real political and you know political turmoil and problems for the past few weeks. But it escalated last week, um, and basically, are very closely monitoring the situation. We have people on the ground in Bangladesh who are our collaborators or who are our team members. They're telling us every update that's coming in, and we are doing our best, our very, very best, to see how the situation develops and take a call based on that. So we are currently waiting for the curfews to be lifted and then to see what the status is. Um, and then after that, we'll take a call on the trip that's supposed to be coming up in beginning of at the end of August. So there's time still. We are taking that time and we're watching very, very closely to make sure that nothing will happen. If we do the tour and if we don't do the tour, we will give refunds to everybody who booked it. So that's also part of our ethics that we always try to take the best care of people as we can.
Yeah, so I would now request Shomadeep to talk a little more about the new website that's coming up and what kind of like changes people are going to see in the new website.
Yeah, so in essence, like as I told, and even as Radhakatan Shishi said, like in the before beginning of the like this entire session, so immersive trails, as we know, so it's actually going through and like a big scale pivot. Okay, and this pivot is basically to move us, as we said, from this established like day experience or walking tour provider to now just basically like a global player. So in the next couple of weeks or probably in the next month or like so, I'm not very sure upon the deadline when we are going to roll this out. But we are the next website that you'll be seeing, or rather the Immersive Tools 2.2, whatever you call that. So that is going to be a very different experience. So when you're going to be opening the website, so you will be like shown a lot of like places where right now Immersive Tools is going to be present. And I think by the time we do roll out, I think that list of cities and destinations is going to be quite big. Like trust me, like these guys, like the entire team, like whom you're not seeing even like behind the scenes, those guys have been working overtime and putting their best to basically build that huge experience for you. So a big shout out to the entire team for doing that. So yeah, so whenever you're going to be opening that website, so you'll be seeing a lot of destinations which you have never even imagined, thought that like this these sort of experiences will be like catering to. So you'll be getting a lot of destinations. Based on those destinations, you can like go and check them. So for obviously for obvious reasons and for most of the logistic reasons, so most of our day experience will still continue to cater to Calcutta and a few more probably cities across India where we are already in discussion and we'll be trying to pan out those tours as well. But you will be getting a wide array of like package tours across various parts of the world, and I mean that with a specific that we will be rolling this out to a large set of places across the world. As Tathagata mentioned, so we are already in the process of rolling out to the various stands in Central Asia. By that time, I think we'll be bringing in Europe, hopefully, or even some other continents as well. But let's see, that's under the pipeline. So yeah, so you will be going in, so that experience will be, you will be having a choice of selecting whether you want to do a like a day experience, a package tour, or probably even a virtual experience as well in those cities. So imagine, so you will be obviously be getting that sort of experience that Make My Trip and all of them provide. But in addition to it, the quality is obviously going to be control A, and B, you will have a wide array of choices to bring on that to find in that place, which I don't think so many of those will be catering to. So we are in the process of trying to build that up. But yeah, it will be a very different experience, and probably immersive 2.2, immersive trails 2.2 is something that will, I guess, will like make you excited when you watch it. So yeah, that's all I would keep it. Rest of it's
So
gonna be
in terms of these experiences that are coming globally, the reason that we are keeping the experiences mostly from that destination. So, for example, Turkey starts from Istanbul, Egypt starts from Cairo. The reason for that is we are looking at a global audience. So anyone who wants to join these experiences can get to the starting point of the experiences by themselves, and then they can join the group. So the us thinking globally does not mean that we will only uh, we are only open for business for the Indian audience. We're actually open for business to the world, and anyone from the world globally can join these experiences, and more diverse people join these experiences, I think the group will be more fun, and it will be more experiential and in depth for everyone. So this through this town hall, I want to tell you that we are open for business to the world, and we are ready to welcome people from anywhere in the world to join our experiences. I also wanted to thank take this opportunity to thank all our collaborators everywhere, and they will be in the new website that's coming up. They will be listed, so that we give them their due recognition as well. So that even if you are not going with us, you can go with, if you want to, say you find yourself in for work in England for a couple of weeks, you can do a tour with our local collaborator. Uh, so that you know that they are already quality controlled, and that they would be of a certain quality. And at this point also, I want to something that we missed at the very beginning of this, is that thanking all of those who backed us and believed in us so far. So I would like to start from day one of Heritage Walk Calcutta, for all of those 22 people who had joined our first walking tour, to Shantanuda and Shagurda, who had financially backed us at the very beginning of Heritage Walk Calcutta, to Vaibhav Singhal, who is now running his own startup, who had financially supported us in the just before the pandemic, and to everyone who in the team who has in the past or present or working in the team for Immersive Trails, because you have made us come this far. Without your support, this would not have been possible. Now we are going to talk about, Chelsea is going to talk about a training program that she's leading, um, and so I'll just hand it over to her.
Yes. So in September this year, I'm going to be doing a training program online, which is available for anyone from anywhere in India or even abroad as well, if you can manage the time. So the training program will be talking about how to lead walking tours. So basically, the nitty gritty aspects of um, leading a walking tour, creating a walking tour, how to do the research, how to create the route, how to deal with, um, the public, how to uh, determine what people will find interesting, storytelling, all of those sorts of things. So these are the things that I'll be talking about during that training program. And you can follow the link in the comment that I just added to find out more about the program and to register if you want to.
Right. So this brings us to our another aspect of our business, which is the technology part of our business, which is the SaaS that we are building for museums. We had started building it last year because we saw that museum solutions are very expensive sometimes, and sometimes are very impractical in the for a modern day museum, small museum, to afford. So that's why we started to build a SaaS, which means software as a service. And Shomudip is building something called Wonder SaaS, which will be available for the museums in the near future. So Shomudip, can you talk a little bit about Wonder SaaS as well?
Yeah, so this was like a project that we had like basically started off what should I say, as an R&D sort of project that we started off probably last year, and we did build an MVP of sorts, which we have actually handed it over to a few museums across India and certain parts elsewhere as well. So for example, what the need of this thing was that, so in the 21st century, when you go to a museum, you don't expect that all of the exhibits will be there as is, and you'll probably read a small plaque which may not have all the details that you might be expecting. So on that plaque, and you just read it, and then you go home. So there may be certain people who would like a more immersive sort of experience. For instance, you might have for example, you might just see a painting, and you might just want to have a little understanding of who this author, like who the painter was, what was his time, why did he paint this sort of thing, or even probably just see a pen in a museum and you just try to wonder whose pen this was, why did it and why is it so important that it's in a museum. So if there are so many of these like questions that you might have in your mind, so it might not be possible for a museum to put all those details onto a plaque, right, and stick that on a wall. And especially, and then the reason why we are doing is that, for instance, a French guy can come to Calcutta and they would just probably visit a certain museum where most of the stuff are written mostly in English, Hindi, or in Bengali. And for that person, he may not know either of the three languages, right? So in that case, that person becomes a little bit, what should I say? Like he may lose the touch to understand or even like engage with whatever is in exhibit in this museum. So at this point, we realize that we need to basically create a sort of simplistic service for the museums by which they can basically insert their content onto a much easier, like what should I say, accessible thing like a QR code and all. And once you just open your mobile camera, because at this time, all I guess almost everyone across the world has a smartphone of a kind, be it an Android or an iOS. You just open the like your mobile device, scan that QR code, and then as soon as you do that, you get like transported onto a portal where you get to see all the sorts of videos, text, audio, and whatever the museum wants about that place, about that exhibit, right? So that becomes a sort of, what should I say, a pocket tour guide, right? And in every museum you might not get a guide. There are many museums who are low on funding, and this I'm not saying just for India, but this is something of a, what should I say, a phenomenon across the world, where there may be many good museums but they have a very little limited budget, and they may not be able to, like what should I spend on that much of technological resources or even the human resources to like engage with all their audience. So that is there where we are trying to fill that gap by building that wonder SaaS, as we mentioned. And that's something that's going to be, what should I say, a game changer, which we believe for most of this museum industry, because I don't know there is, if there is anything as such at all across the world that caters to this sort of thing. So since immersiveness is even in the name of immersive trails as well, and that is where we are trying to basically bring these grandpa grandmommy museums, or probably museums with low budget, push them into the 21st century, and where they do not have to do anything. They do not have to bring in swanky new televisions, bring in too many people, bring in computer, nothing. They just need to print a small QR code, stick it beside their exhibit, and let us handle the rest of the like the technological load. So that is where we are. But yeah, once again, so this was just an MVP and an R&D sort of project that we did in the coming year, because we will be pivoting from that immersive trails, the original one, to the immersive trails 2.0. So probably it will take some time for us to roll that off as well, because this is quite a big project as well. So post that, I guess in the coming year, or probably by the end of this year, immersive trails SaaS, which we have named it as Wanda SaaS. The name might be a little, we might change the name in the going in the future. This is sort of MVP name that we had given at that time, like a research project. But yeah, so that thing will come to shape. And yes, we'll be rolling it out to many museums, and we'll be providing them a lot of freemium stuff as well. So I guess I hope that Wonder Sets does like pull along. And I do hope that some of our audience who go to this day experiences also somehow feel that change in the museums when they go forward and visit them as well. So yes, it's all in the pipeline, a very big like what should I say, R&D developmental activities going behind the scenes. Not many people know of it, but it's good that in this discussion we are now enlightening our audience about the huge chunk of work that is going behind the scenes. So yeah, so we are waiting for that to. We are very excited to roll that out to you guys as well as soon as we finish building that. Yeah.
So one other thing that I want to mention in terms of the tours that we're curating or having others curate for us is that a lot of them go much deeper into the history and culture than you would see in a normal package tour. So, for example, our Delhi tour, which is coming up, which I'll have to talk about, it covers a lot more than you would just normally see with a Delhi sightseeing tour.
Yeah, so the Delhi tour is led by Ramin, and Ramin is a citizen historian, an expert who has researched Delhi for several years, and he leads his own walking tours. And we are grateful that Ramin had decided to collaborate with us, and we came up with this tour, which will take you much deeper in the history of Delhi, the layers, peel through the layers of history of Delhi than a normal sightseeing tour. Similarly, we are having a tour coming up in Agra with Agra Heritage Walks, who are our partners there, and they are specialists in Agra and would be showcasing all the cultural aspects and historical aspects of Agra, not just the Taj Mahal, beyond the Taj as well. We have a partnership with a company called Rubaru Walks in Varanasi, and they are going to curate a Varanasi tour, which takes you much beyond the popular sites of Varanasi, or even if it takes you to the popular sites of Varanasi, it talks about much deeper in the history of it. So these kind of partnerships we are putting in place, and they will all of them will find a place in our platform, so that we can deliver authentic experiences for everyone visiting a place. And gradually, we want to be present in most places in the world. So that is our global vision. And these would be authentic, immersive experiences, not the run of the mill stuff that you get in several package tours. So yes, we are making packages, but we are creating a different types of packages than the usual ones. So that's yeah.
So another thing that you may have noticed is that our packages are usually much more expensive than the common ones that you can find on other platforms. There's two reasons for that. Number one is that, well, three reasons for that. Number one is that we work with local providers who give back to the community. Number two is that the as Sotogoto was saying, the uh, yeah. um, Basically, uh, so another reason is that the um,
Brain fog.
yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So the another reason is that it's all inclusive, mostly,
Yes.
and we don't have any hidden costs. So, for example, one of the cases where we got a lot of backlash is because of Bhutan tour that we had launched was 87,000 rupees per person, but it included an airfare, which is by itself 30,000 rupees from Calcutta. It included all the sustainable development fees, all land taxes, three-star hotels, all guiding fees, GST and TCS, because you have to pay 5% GST and 5% TCS for a foreign trip. So that's 10% plus 30,000 rupees of airfare, plus everything, all the meals, all accommodations, and everything. So generally, we try to keep it as all inclusive as possible. When possible, we include flights. When not, we don't. But there are no hidden fees anywhere. If there is something that needs to be paid extra, we mention it in our itinerary. For example, in Egypt, if you want to go to the Temple of Ramses, you have to pay an extra $100, and it's mentioned in the itinerary. So we don't keep anything hidden. We don't surprise you with a fee that when you are there. And we understand that when you are traveling in an unknown place, you are basically a captive audience. And often several packages uh, try to exploit that situation from the tourists, but we don't want to, and that is why we keep everything included. For example, our Turkey trip has internal flights, domestic flights in Turkey included. Our Egypt trip has domestic flights and domestic train travel, and everything is included. The cruise that is included. Our Kazakhstan trip even has flight from Delhi included, and all the internal travels included. So there is nothing that we will surprise you with during the trip that you have to pay this extra to get that service. Anything that is mentioned in inclusions is included, and that is that.
And that includes our more local tours as well. So, for example, the Vishnupur tour that's coming up will include train fare to and from Vishnupur from Calcutta, and also will include a musical performance of Vishnupur Gharana. So all of those will be included, and basically our motto is that we don't want you to have to spend an extra penny if you don't want to once you actually get there.
I think I can just add in one point here. Also, this is beyond the tech domain, but I think yeah. So that mode of transparency that Radha mentioned, that is I think very important. That because I have even personally, like I've even like taken like trips with many big players out beforehand as well, and there were many cases where like the price that was quoted initially, it did increase quite a lot when we went to those places, as they didn't like what should I say, transparently mention every cost that was that was supposed to be included. So that does come as a surprise to several like tourists, and that is I think something at the heart of immersive tours. We do want to keep everything transparent, and that is probably a reason why it looks as if it's slightly more expensive, but trust us, with many of the big players there are a lot of hidden costs as well. So when you go actually to that place, you will realize that it might actually end up spending a little more than what we were telling you for. So that is I think a very like important point that Prabha mentioned about. And yeah, that is probably one of the important reasons as well. So yeah.
Okay, so next is, and the last thing that we want to talk about is where we are going from here. We have already outlined that uh, we are doing certain things and making it Immersive Trails is open for business globally, and that we are becoming a more global entity rather than a local entity. We're Calcutta-based, Calcutta-focused entity, although Calcutta will always remain our home, and Calcutta we will be a Calcutta-based, Calcutta-oriented, like not Calcutta-oriented necessarily, but a Calcutta-based company which is born and brought up and matured in Calcutta. But we are also like last year we have been to Shark Tank. We did not. We went to the final round, but after that we did not get through to the show part. And we took their feedback, and so that was one of the low points for us last year. And we took their feedback, and we basically tried to change some things in our company. And these are the changes that you are seeing. We are not going to Shark Tank this year, and we are in though we will be raising our seed round for Immersive Trails this year, and we are looking to raise about 25 lakhs. We already had a few commitments from a few of our customers who want to invest in the company and become a part of the company. So I would let Shomodip say more about our funding round plans.
Yeah, I guess yeah. So as Tathagata mentioned, we had been to Shark Tank, and that was an important experience because that did like show us some few small things that we did really need to. We really needed to like probably introspect upon how to scale up the business. So that I think I'm thankful about to them for that matter. Yes, we are about in the process of raising the seed fund, which is definitely going to be a round of 25 lakhs. Why we have come up with a 25 lakhs, that is something will definitely help you out if you do want to invest, because there are certain heads where we are do looking forward to put in more money. That's basically to bring in to build up a better team, more resources, and to also like spread like the advertising and the marketing costs as well. So yeah, so there are certain heads as well. This is going to be a preliminary seed round, and then yes, as Sadagotu mentioned, we already have a few like commitments of investment from yes some of our customers, few HNIs as well, and yes, we are in discussion with some other players as well. We will be looking into a few institutional investors as well in the coming days, but I guess within the seed round, we are open to like taking in investment from even like anyone from a customer community as well who do want to be part of the company, because now that could be the biggest sort of I think encouragement to us to see that our own customers who have always come to our works, they do want to be part of this what's a bigger movement. So that's something we would do encourage if it's possible. And don't worry, it's not that one person entirely has to invest or something like it. We can even accommodate, what should I say, a sort of like a clubbed round as well. But yes, once again, those are all something that will be requiring some discussions and deliberations with the people involved and with the team and our legal team as well. Yes, we are about to raise it. I guess post the seed round, we have some plans about a pre-series A round as well. And as Tathagat and Chelsea mentioned, we have global ambitions, and for global ambitions, we do require like capital backing as well, and that is the reason why we are about to raise that round. We'll talk about the valuations and all of those stuff probably with anyone who is interested, because that's something, there's a lot of paperwork and like understanding that needs to go beyond this call. And then don't worry, we have the due diligence and all of those mostly ready. So yeah, so that's something probably we can take that off with like the interested people and all. But yeah, we are in the process of raising a seed round. So yeah, anyone interested can like reach out to us.
Okay, and before we go to questions, if anyone has any questions, please write them in the chat box. Um, I just wanted to mention that we're going to be doing lives much more frequently now. We're planning to do them once a week or once every 2 weeks. And we're going to be bringing some of our collaborators on to talk to you directly. So you can look forward to meeting some of our collaborators from across the world and across India. Um, so if you have any questions, please do comment, and we'll answer them, and then we'll close the session.
Yeah, I just miss because of a brain fog, I meant to mention one name. That is Shamik. Shamik had backed us during the pandemic, and I would really like to thank him as well through this session. So Shamik, if you're listening to us, hats off, and of course you are already a part of the company. Raja Bose, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your. You are doing great work yourself in Bhagalpur, and we would love to collaborate with you to bring Bhagalpur's history and culture to the fore as well.
So we do actually have one museum tour in the Archaeological Museum, um, the West Bengal State Archaeological Museum in Behala. We would like to have other tours. Some of the museums do not allow external guides. So that is why, for example, we don't have tours in Victoria Memorial. Um, so, uh, but more tours that involve museums will be coming up over the next year or so, probably.
And one of the reasons that we are making this museum solution is that so that the visitors can self-guide through an immersive software, um, which is easier for the museums as well because they can put as much content as they want people to consume, and people can consume, the visitors can consume as much content as they want to through that. So it may not be always possible in a short guided tour, but they can of course uh, look at videos, look at hear, listen to audios, look at 360 degrees materials, look at read texts, original sources, and all of that about an exhibit. So to take them as in depth as possible about exhibits. So that is our answer to help the museums create a more immersive experience for their exhibits. Yeah, so Dhanno Kuriya is more of Rangonda's expertise. So if Rangonda is watching, you can respond on the chat to um, Raja. So if Rangonda wants to do a tour of Dhanno Korea, then he is welcome to do. It's not my area of expertise. It's not Chelsea's area of expertise. Um, and I don't think any of our team members have expertise on Dhanno Korea at this point. So we would love to do a tour there, but we want to do it like get it done by an expert-led, uh, like make it an expert-led tour. So Rangunda is the person to do it.
Okay, it looks like there's no other questions, so I guess we'll wrap up for this evening. Thank you everyone for tuning in and listening to us, and expect more live sessions from us in the future.
Yes, thank you
Thank you,
everyone,
everyone.
and it was good to. If you are watching it in the future, then thank you for watching. And if you have joined now, then thank you very much indeed. And yes, please reach out to us on WhatsApp or a WhatsApp group, or on WhatsApp directly to us, and or other channels to give your feedback. We are always open to feedbacks, and we generally we like to have your feedback, positive or negative, if and incorporate them in our growth journey. So thank you very much indeed, and take care.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.